Welcome to the Paige family homestead. It's a good day, and you know what that means. We're canning. What we're going to can is coleslaw. It's so handy to have in that pantry. I tell you guys, impromptu barbecues, boom, there it is, no problem. I can spend more time with my guests or more time in the garden and less time preparing when I need it. So come on in and we'll get started making the brine first, because we want that to boil and then come down to room temperature. And while that's doing that, we can work on the actual coleslaw. So come on in. Trying to get the angles to work so you can see. What I've got in the pan so far is 2 cups of sugar. And you're thinking, oh my gosh, that's a lot of sugar. Where is this? Yes, it is, but the recipe calls for 4. I've cut it back. So this is so forgiving, guys. It's the vinegars that are more important than the sugars. If you're opposed to the sugar, you can take some of it out. You need some, you really do. It offsets the vinegars, right? Opposites attract. So I got 2 cups of sugar. This is personal preference. 1 cup of water. We're using well water. It wants 2 cups of white vinegar. And they ask for red wine vinegar, or I don't have that and I don't use it. I like to use my, with the mother in it, apple cider vinegar. So we're going with, we did 1 cup of water, so we're doing 1 cup of apple cider vinegar to 2 cups of white vinegar. Get my wooden spoon. Joining everything in the pot. Seasoning. Please go by what you want. The recipe calls for a tablespoon of celery seed. I'm using a tablespoon and a quarter of celery seed, and I'm using 1.5 teaspoons of mustard seed. That goes in. Now, we are going to be using a blend of green and red cabbage. So when you're using red cabbage, a nice flavor to put in is some allspice or some nutmeg. I'm getting down here, then I'm going to choke from the vinegar. But I want to keep this pretty much the same as what I would do for my everyday coleslaw. I'm just minus the salt and the pepper, and you'll see why down the road. I'm just going to let you go. I'm going to bring this to a boil, let it boil for about 2 minutes. Wait, want that sugar nice and dissolved, right? And then I'm going to set it to the side. We'll turn the heat off and let this cool. And I'll catch you guys all over at the table. Cutting time. Oh, I think I failed to mention, this is so beginner level for canning. It's one of the best and most rewarding projects to start with. A lot of people just stepping out into the canning world, they're afraid to start with pressure canning, and that's okay. They'll get to it when they feel more secure. This is hot water bath canning. It is high acid. The brine, the vinegars, a little bit of sugar, but the vinegars, we're pickling basically. When done, this is in place, the brine of the vinegar oil dressing. You don't need the oil. It works just fine with the vinegars and the waters. And if you don't want that style of coleslaw, then you rinse it off when you open it and you add your, some people like Miracle Whip, some people like what do you call it in the States? Duke's mayonnaise. Here it's Hellman's mayonnaise that we prefer as a rule. Or whatever, the bottled dressing, whatever. Slap it on, mix it up, and it stays crunchy. What do you want to put in it? Well, obviously cabbage. So I'm going for decor. I'm going with red cabbage and green cabbage. The cabbages here right now are really small. I've cut the veins out. If you don't know how to cut the vein, I did save one just in case, because some people don't know. And it's just so easy, guys. Cut it in half. See the vein down here and here. Take your knife, cut a V. That's all you're doing. This goes in the chicken pile. How cool is that? So, I do have a food processor, and Andy's going to be like, why didn't you pull it out? I like to chop my foods. I really do. I like to chop and slice and dice the foods. When I have a bad hand day, I've got that machine. I can pull it out. I'm not worried about it. Right now, I just want to slice my cabbage very thin. Like you would when you're making your coleslaw. And it goes into the vegetable bowl. So I'm going to cut all the cabbage up and put it in here. What I'm adding to our coleslaw, the men are back. What I'm adding to the coleslaw is going to be 2 small onions, so a medium onion. And for color and flavor, I think I'm going to go with just the 2 half peppers, not the 3 different colors. I think I'm going to omit the yellow and stay with the red and the green. And we, of course, have our carrots ready to go. So once I get the cabbage all done, there's a little something we're going to do, and I'll bring you back for that. So I've used 3/4 of the green, and I think I don't know how much I'm going to use of the red. Now, if you don't want to use red, don't. This is just, like I said in the beginning, I'm using the red just basically for decor, and it was an odd shape, so I cut them up weird. I like them nice and long strips, but do you, by all means. These are going to come in so handy. Have you guys ever made chow chow? The flavor of this, if I don't want to strain it and throw it in a soup or a stew, it's not like chow chow, but it is. There's a kind of cheater's chow chow for a stew. You love that in your stew.
Oh, I do. I love it.
So, but like I said, for impromptu barbecues, somebody pops over. I mean, how hard is it to make fresh? But you know, it's always best when it sits a little bit. Just like with pickles, you're not going to do this and right away open a jar and say, oh yeah, let's enjoy. No, you're not getting the true impact of all the flavors, and you got to let it sit for at least 4 to 6 weeks on the shelf in order to get the full benefits from this recipe. I've got some grated carrot in here. I only used a 1/4 of the pepper of each flavor, each color rather. I only used the green and the red. I just wanted it not so much for flavor as much as for color, I'll be honest. I've got here, you need 4 tablespoons of coarse salt, pickling salts, sea salts, pink Himalayan salt, something that's not iodized, don't want it for canning. I've got coarse pickling salt. You're like, oh my gosh, you're putting that salt. Yeah, and I'm going to just put the salt on with all the veg. I still have cabbage to go. It's going to draw out the unnecessary juices that we don't need. And we're going to let it sit. It also helps the vegetable stay crisp. You could use, why don't you use pickle crisp? I don't want to. It's a chemical and I don't need to. Not with my pickles, nothing. So I don't. Some people choose to. I choose not to. I have it, but I don't like it. So what I'm showing right now as I'm mixing it is how much do I want? Do I need more carrot? Do I need more pepper? Do I need more onion? Onion I don't want to put too much in. It impacts a nice punch when canning, but I don't want it to be prominent in this dish. I'm just mixing the salt right now. So I'm gonna throw in the cabbage. I do want all the cabbage. I've only used 1 carrot so far. I'll gauge that by what it looks like after. Once I get it all done, and I'm going to cover it. That salt needs to work for a little while. No, we're not making sauerkraut. The salt needs to work in here, so I'm going to cover it and set it aside for a few hours, which is going to give the brine plenty of time to come down from that boil in a natural time. So I'm not going to bore you with chopping and slicing. Just do it the way you want to do it. What do you like in your coleslaw? And I'm telling you, this stuff, you open up a jar, either you pour off the liquid and add your ingredients to make it a creamy slaw, or just strain it a little bit and serve it the way it is. Oh, but is it ever good on burgers, on the barbecue table? There you go. Here, everybody looks like, oh my gosh, she's got everything on the ready. Yes, I do. For a little bit of work now, I'm going to have a lot of it for on the pantry. I'll bring you back. Here we go. This is going to be the coleslaw. I'm not too worried about mixing it right now. I just wanted to make sure to get that salt in all the way through. I can already feel the waters coming out. This is going to crisp up so nice. I don't know if I can get in there to show you already or not. Now, the salt that's on here, I know some of you are horrified, some of you are giggling because you know. After we let this sit for a couple hours, I'm going to take it to the sink with a colander. I am going to wash this slaw off like you wouldn't believe. My nails are already stained purple from the cabbage. The salt, that's why I'm not adding salt, is there will be a little bit of salt left over. Not enough to worry about. It'll be fine. I'm going to wash it good. So because of that, I'm just going to put another little sprinkle. Massage that in. It's a chilly day out, hence the lumberjack type flannel shirt. So I'm just going to cover this and set it aside 2 hours. I have a few other projects on the go. I'll carry on with those and bring you back when we're ready to rinse this off. Okay, so it's been, I let it sit for a couple hours, and then put it in the big stainless steel colander, and I'm telling you, I rinsed, I cleaned, I strained, I squeezed, I rinsed. It's rinsed. So what I'm doing now, the brine is totally cooled, and I'm putting all the vegetable, all the slaw, into here with the brine. And I'm just going to turn it and turn it, make sure it's all coated really nicely. And then we're going to go back to the table. Look at that. Oh, it smells so good. And we're going to start packing our jars. And I got to get my water bath canner going here, guys. Oh, it smells good. Look at that. I have to go closer to the can. Just put it in. I'm not packing it tight, but I don't want it really loose, guys. And the brine that's in there, we're going to top it up with it. Oh man, it smells divine. I'm going to debubble, wipe our rims, always. We're looking at a 1/2 inch headspace. An inch is just too much, so go with the 1/2 inch. This is going to be so exciting to pull off the pantry and into into a menu for a summer barbecue. Just keep mixing as you go. Make sure everything is married. At first you think, oh no, I'm not going to have enough brine. Yeah, you will. Probably have more than enough. But doesn't that look nice?
Yeah, looks good.
Oh, still nice and crisp. Just a pantry hack, guys, that you can use even when you do our potatoes, our pressure can potatoes. That makes a beautiful potato salad. Open up a jar of this. Like, you got half the barbecue right there, right?
Yep, that's
Without
right.
worry. And it's so tasty. Quite often we will strain it, do a light rinse, not much. I just like to strain it. And then put our creamy dressing on top. Just to change it up a little bit. But like I said, just take the whole jar, juices and all, throw that in a super stew. Isn't it just like the chow chow, eh?
Yep. I love chow chow.
Yeah, we'll be doing that this fall for sure. It really hurt us not having a garden for a full season. Not nearly what we're used to. I'm finding I'm at the end of almost everything in the pantry. So you'll be seeing some out of season goodies because I need to have them. I mean, it's our go-to. And it's just going to be so nice to do up 2 years worth out of the garden. And then that gives us an opportunity to grow different things in the garden each year because we may not need certain things again, right?
Yep.
Look at this. Okay, I'll bring you back at the next stage. Plastic or wood, not metal, to debubble, guys. You want 1/2 inch headspace. Here's the, look at the red from the cabbage. Could I have a square of paper towel, please, honey?
Yep.
That is going to be so nice. I'm so happy to have this back. Because, I mean, the weather's soon going to be nice all the time, Andy.
I know.
Barbecues, requests for salads, not a problem. A pint will do Andy and I with some leftovers for the next day for like a side on a meal. Finger tight. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful?
Yep.
What a gift. I mean, the jar alone. But I mean, what a gift.
Jeez. Wow, I got a jar.
I'm going to go ahead, pack up the rest of my jars. 1/2 inch headspace. Finger tight. After you wipe the rim with vinegar. Debubbled, right? First you debubble, then you wipe with vinegar, then finger tight. I'm waiting for my water to come up to warm because these aren't cold, they're warm. As soon as the temperature reaches the content of the jar and the jar itself, I'm going to put them in and leave them in there until I get a vigorous boil. At that time, I'm going to set my timer for 15 minutes and give these guys a 15-minute hot water bath. I'll bring you back when we're taking them out. There we go. We have 9 pints on a trivet at the bottom. And we have 1/2 pint not going to be done. So that's going in the fridge. Let it sit for about 4 or 5 days and we'll sample that. So I'm going to let this go now until it comes to a vigorous boil. And then we set our timer for 15. There we go. The timer's gone off. 15 minutes hard boil. I just put the lid ajar. I'm going to let it sit there for about 5 minutes and then we will take these out. And there we have it. 9 pints and 1/2 pint that's in the fridge. Now the one that's in the fridge, I'm actually going to leave it a full week before I sample it. These ones, even though they are now shelf stable, I'm not going to touch them for anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks. 4 weeks would be best. Come on, it's just like with pickles, right? You don't hurry up and do them and then open a jar and say, have a pickle. Ew. You gotta let these guys marry, guys. You gotta let the flavors all cure together. Isn't this beautiful? Certainly is different looking with the red cabbage. It's gonna be awesome. I can't wait to crack one open. I'll bring you back when we do. Please remember to give us a thumbs up. Share the video, guys. Please help share. Watch a playlist or two. Give us a hand with our watch time. And please make sure you are subscribed. We have a lot more canning coming. This is our first season with a real garden. I have an empty pantry. I need to fill it. See you next video.